That is what an ideal day of a productive person should probably look like. That is typically not the case though. The alarm goes off. You hit snooze a couple of times, and then finally turn it off. You grab your phone to check how many likes your last Instagram post has received. You brush your teeth with your phone, eat with it, and if it is your day off, you fall back into your bed to watch some YouTube. And although most people are somewhere in between those two scenarios, if the first thing you do in the morning is check your phone, it is the first sign of addiction. Addiction is a neuropsychological disorder characterized by a persistent and intense urge to engage in certain behaviors. How did we end up here talking about phone addiction when this device was originally designed to connect people? Well, to figure this out, we need to rewind a bit to, let's say, 1973. Yeah, seems the perfect year to stop on. Because this is the year when the first ever mobile phone call was made by Dr. Martin Cooper. He was a Motorola employee in New York using a prototype Dynatac phone. Cooper called his friend who worked at rival AT&T. However, the phone could hardly be called mobile, as the weight was over a kilogram and it also took 10 hours to charge, which is a lot. Now let's move to something that is more portable than that, which is Motorola Dynatac 8000X. This thing indeed looks like a mobile phone, and at the time it was a real status symbol, because the price was a whopping $4,000. Phones were getting cheaper and better. Addition of colors, 3G, camera and so on, until they become smart enough to be called smartphones. And I believe this is the beginning of our problems. As with the internet that originally was designed to have access to any knowledge that you want, and instead we watch cats and memes all days, smartphones are going to encompass a lot of useful apps, but we dedicate our time only to those that allow us to waste our lives away. Don't get me wrong, this device is still very useful to facilitate learning, navigation, dealing with finance, and so on. I, as a filmmaker, for example, use a lot of apps to remotely control my camera, remotely control my light, to create a storyboard, to write a script, and so on. But let's be honest, those are not the apps that we spend majority of our time on. Everything is a cure, and everything is a poison, the difference is in dosage. Unfortunately, moderate usage is not going to bring billions of dollars to somebody's pocket. That's why the apps that originally, and I truly believe that, were designed to ease the communication between people and then maybe throw a little bit of ads to, make some money in the process, now turned into attention-consuming monsters to make us like freaking experimental rats sit there 24/7, only to make their pile of money even bigger. Now, with the help of a little AI, the algorithm will pick the next post, the next video precisely for you, to make your dopamine receptors fire like crazy, turning you into an addict. Well, they are getting money, the company is ordering that ad, they're getting your attention. But what are you getting? You should be getting something, right? Well, of course you are. I can read you a list of what you are getting in return. You're getting insomnia, anxiety, stress, poor mental health, loneliness, depression, and wasted time. And maybe a kitten. No? No kitten. There are numerous studies that research how this phone addiction can affect a human being. And you know what? No one is talking about some positives in using your phone a lot. because there isn't one. You gain nothing except maybe for some weight, but it hardly can be called a positive thing. But if we all understand that it's not really good for you, why can't we just stop doing it? As for alcoholic to stop drinking, for drug addict to stop using, for a obese person to stop overeating, it is difficult for a phone addict to stop using it so much. It is called an addiction for a reason. Now, let's say you've decided that you need to reduce your phone time to a minimum. How would you do that? Because I did a challenge a while ago when I tried to reduce it, and it's not as easy as it sounds. You fall back into your old habits pretty quickly. By the way, if you're thinking, well, that's definitely not me, I'm not spending so much time on my phone, try to consciously count every time you pick up your phone to kill time. You'll be amazed that most people develop this habit that goes unnoticed at first. Every time we have a minute to spare, when we think we might get bored, we tend to grab a phone as a method to run away from our boredom. And probably from our thoughts. Because those can be scary. Life is not about sunshine and rainbows, so we seek a mental shelter that would distract us from thinking those thoughts. Anyway, I got a little philosophical in there, so how do you reduce the screen time? First, you need to become aware of why you pick up your phone. So you can set up a wallpaper that would simply say "why" on the screen. This way you'll become conscious of your choices. Second is that you need to practice being bored. This is such a rare thing nowadays. We are constantly bombarded with information and ways to entertain ourselves that we are unable to just sit there and do nothing. Yet this skill is a necessity, especially for a creative person. What else can you do? You can delete social media apps or put restrictions on them. Don't worry, you're not going to miss anything important. Trust me, if something really important is happening, somebody will reach out to you using WhatsApp or by the means of a simple phone call. Also, almost forgot. I hope you do understand that you cannot keep a phone by your bed when you're sleeping, right? If you're worried about an alarm, buy a simple alarm clock. Those are not expensive. Now, you are also going to need to replace your phone with something else to keep your hands and your brain occupied when you're really bored. I would suggest picking up a tactile hobby like pen spinning, pottery, cardistry, something like that. Any skill that requires delicate use of your hands. Contrary to your phone, those hobbies will develop synapses in your brain instead of turning it into a mashed potato. This is not easy. That's why not so many people choose to go through it. But trust me, life is already too short to spend it on useless devices. Live your life and be free.